Good morning, Steve Jolly with Benchmark Realty, and welcome to the Music City Show. Thank you guys for being loyal viewers of this show. We really appreciate that. We love that you're coming out every week to see what we have to talk about. I think we've got some interesting things to talk about with you this week and to share with you. Um, and so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to talk about to you guys is a warning, especially for those that are thinking about listing their home or are planning to do it in the near future. And so if you don't already have an agent, that means you have to find one. And that means a lot of times people will interview agents. You'll talk to two or three of them before. And so whether you talk to one agent or three agents, I think that you need to don't fail to get this information from your agent, to get these questions answered. And so before we exactly dive into what those questions are, let's talk about the 7 key areas for a sale. So these are 7 keys to a great sale. So this is where an agent can step in and really help you and really make a difference in an average sale or a good sale and turn it into a great sale. And so that first step is planning. And planning is oh so important, because every day that you spend planning to sell your home, you'll save 3 or 4, maybe even a week on the market. And also, you'll be able to do it at your own time schedule and convenience instead of under the gun, under deadlines of a contract. So planning is very key. The second thing I want to share with you is talking about repair review. So everybody has a unique situation when it comes to their home. So not everybody has the same home or the same resources or the same manpower and availability. So what you really have to do is to take in your unique circumstances, your unique resources, and come up with a plan that's going to maximize the value of your home in the eyes of the consumer. And that's what the repair review is all about. Sometimes it's little things, sometimes it's big things, but whatever it is, it's just doing whatever we can to maximize the value of your home with spending the least amount of money and time on it. So pricing, number 3, is key. Pricing is just as much an art as it is a science. It takes a lot of practice. And so over the course of 700 homes sold between Gretchen and I, and thousands of broker price opinions that I've done for my bank clients, I've really learned, what makes a good pricing, because you have to know a lot of things. You have to understand the market. You have to understand the unique characteristics of the home, what buyers want in your area, and how that home compares to other areas, and be able to take all the information and use some math to find out what the price should be for your home. Like I said, it's still an art and it's a science. It takes a lot of practice. So you want to make sure you have somebody that you trust on pricing your home. The more unique it is, the more difficult it is. So that's where this really comes into play. Staging is another key. Staging, you want to make sure staging is right for your photos so it shows your home in the best light, and staging is right for when people walk through your home. One of the things people don't realize about staging is if it's distracting to the consumer, it really prevents them from seeing themselves living in your home. And that's what really sells them on your home, when they can imagine, when they can picture in their mind's eye what it would be like to live in your home. That's what really helps sell your home. So staging is key in that aspect. Marketing is also key, especially the digital side of marketing. So you really want somebody that's digital savvy, because you can really reach out to large numbers of people online, get them interested in your home, drive traffic to your home, which also, the more traffic you have, the more competition you have, the more likely it is that your home is going to sell. The more competition among buyers, the more likely it is your home is going to sell for the best possible price. So marketing, again, is one of those other key areas where an agent can really make the difference for you. Negotiations, that's always big in real estate, because there's 4 negotiations for every home sale. You have to negotiate with the buyers, you have to negotiate with the home inspector, you have to negotiate with the lender, and you have to negotiate with the appraiser, and you have to sell all of them on the value and the quality of your home. So negotiations are a key element, and that's another area where the agent can make or break you. And then transaction management could be, for some cases, it's the most difficult part of the whole process, the sale process. So the transaction management is getting you from where you're under contract to the closing table. And there's hundreds of people that touch your property during that time, whether it's loan processors or inspectors or banking officials, Lots and lots of people touch that process. So coordinating all those and making sure everything happens on time so you can get to the closing table at the right time and at the right price is key. So transaction management is the seventh key to the great sale. So now let's go back to our initial premise here. So what questions are we going to ask? So you're going to want to ask these same questions across all these 7 keys. So you're going to say, okay, how can you help me with planning? How can you help me with repairs to my home? How can you help me with marketing? What makes this? So these are all good questions you should be asking of your agents as you interview them. Or even if it's one agent, you want to know the answers to these questions. What makes you great at marketing? What sets you apart from other agents in your marketing? So think of these questions across all 7 of these keys, and you'll have a great list of questions for you can ask. So not only will you understand what your agent can do for you, but it'll help you feel more comfortable throughout the whole process. And so what I want to do next over the next few weeks is I want to break down each of these key areas and tell you what the current best practices are for each of those areas, what you should expect from your agent for each of those areas, and what possibly could go wrong so you can be prepared for that in each of those areas. All right, that sounds good. So we will come back to that next week. But before we end the show, I want to take you through the market update for the week so we can see what's going on. So sales, good news for sales for us this week. We're finally starting to see a slight increase. We saw for the last month, the 6 weeks, we saw the demand increasing. We saw the number of pending sales increasing. So those are leading indicators for the number of sales. We're finally starting to see those peak up beyond the peaks at the end of the month. You always have an end of the month peak, but beyond those, we're finally starting to see those numbers creep up for where they bottomed out in April, which is good news during the depths of the lockdown. So we're seeing a slight increase in sales, which we expected based on the number of showings and the number of pendings. So let's go and look at the new listings next. Once again, we're still on a slight increasing pattern. The good thing to know is that 2 out of the last 3 weeks we've been either equal to or ahead of 2019 as far as new listings. So that's another good sign. We haven't been in that position since the end of March. So it's been or middle of March. So it's been a long time since we've had new listings, and that's what we desperately need in order to keep the market rolling, to keep our economy rolling. New construction can only fill about 25% of our current need. We need a lot more out there. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, keep that in mind. Showings were still on a strong increase since the middle of April. It's just skyrocketed, and we should be close to where we are for the peak of the year. So peak sales for the year typically happen in June or July for the greater Nashville, but because of the pandemic we've experienced, and it kind of shut the market down for 4 to 6 weeks, or really slowed it down, I expect maybe that'll also push back that peak because the demand is still really strong. So I expect that peak maybe will be in July this year, possibly in August. It's really hard. August is always really weird because back to school slows a lot of things down. So we'll just have to see what happens on showings. But I expect we'll start to level out or have slight increases over the course of the next few weeks. Homes under contract, another strong indicator, and shows how much demand there is in the market. 9 out of the last 10 weeks, we've had an increase of homes under contract. We're significantly higher than we were back in 2019, so that is a really good sign for the market. The only week we had a flat was during a Memorial Day weekend, which is to be expected. So homes going under contract, it's a great indicator of the demand in the market, and it's a great indicator for future sales. So I'm expecting July and August sales to be pretty strong. So if you are thinking about selling your home, or you're just concerned about what your home is worth now based on everything that's going on, go ahead, go to NashvillePrices.com, enter your address. You'll get two automated price estimates, and if you want to get a custom estimate from me, I'll be glad to provide that to you. Next week, we are going to be talking about those 7 key areas. And the first one is planning. So, and planning is really developing that roadmap for how you're going to sell your home. So if you plan to sell, you need this roadmap. And that's what we'll be talking about next week. We'll be digging into the best practices, what you should be expecting from your agent, and what could go wrong so you can be prepared for it. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to the show again. I really appreciate you guys being loyal viewers of the Music City Show. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. You can also text or call me at 615-257-9996. Thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing day. Peace and love, y'all.